So let's continue. Now, this example, working alone at its constant rate, machine A takes 3 hours to produce a batch of identical computer parts. Working alone at its constant rate, machine B takes 2 hours to produce an identical batch of parts. How long will it take the two machines working simultaneously at their respective constant rates to produce an identical batch of parts? Now, this kind of question is a combined rate question, whereby two different entities working together to produce something at their own different rates. Now, I said, since machine A takes 3 hours to produce a batch, because that's what they said here, to produce a batch, machine A can produces 1/3 of batch in 1 hour. Now, since it takes 3 hours to produce just one batch, it means the meaning of what they're saying is that means 1/3 of that time. That means 1/3 of that time you're going to produce some things, but it's going to be up to a batch. That means 1/3 of that batch. You will have produced 1/3 of the batch in 1 hour. You understand? So similarly, machine B can produce 1/2 of the batch in 1 hour. So here, this one will be like half. But we are not talking about the batches now. We're not talking about. We're just trying to use our own logic to think about it. This is not difficult. It takes 3 hours for A to produce a whole batch. Now, in 1 hour, it takes just 1/3 of that machine to produce a part of that batch. So it won't be complete again. So that it takes 1 hour. 1/3 of 1/3 of 3 hours is 1 hour. Now, the same thing goes to the other one. It takes 1/2 of the batch. 1/3. No, it takes 2 hours to produce that batch. So that means if 1/3, so 1/3 will now 1/2. Sorry, 1/2 will now be in 1 hour. Is half of 2. You understand? So that means it's going to produce part of that batch, not the full batch. 1/2. So that's the time it takes. Now, if we let X represent the number of hours it takes both machines working simultaneously to produce a batch, and maybe two are working together, and X is the other time they use, since that's what we are looking for, right? Then the two machines will produce 1/X of the job in 1 hour. Now, what they did was that they tried to, is like a proportional question. So 1/2, 1/3. So they now said, okay, the total number of batches they produce when they work together in 1 hour is going to be 1/X, because that's what we're looking for. That X is what we're looking for. They said, how long will it take the two machines working simultaneously at their respective constant rate to produce an identical batch of parts? Now, when the two machines work together, adding their individual production rates, which is 1/3 for part of the batches for the first machine, and 1/2, which is part of the batches of the second one, then give the combined product of rate of 1/X, because 1/X, X is a combined rate, like I explained to you. This is not difficult at all. Just look into it. So that's 1/3, which is for the first machine, plus 1/2, which is for the second machine, equals to 1/X. So if you solve that, you should get your answer. Now, look for the LCM 6 and solve this side 5/6. When you solve it well, I can't be explaining how to do simple mathematics to you. So if you do it well, we solve it 5/6 equals to 1/X. When you first multiply, you have 6/5. So that's the answer. So those working together, the machine will produce 6/5 hours, or 1 hour, 12 minutes to produce a batch of parts, which is part of that batch, not the full one. And now we're just looking for the constant rate. Don't make a mistake. Don't go and be asking 3 plus 2 because of X. You won't get your answer that way. You're going to get 5. This is the way to solve it. Now the next question. At a fruit stand, apple can be purchased for $0.15 and each part and each pear for 0.2 each. At the rate, a bag of apple and pear will produce for 3.80. If the bag contains 21 pieces of fruit, how many pieces are pear? Now, this is the rate for one apple. Sorry, the price for one apple. This is the price for one pear. Now, you just need to do here is just to form an equation. It's going to be a simultaneous equation. Now, how is it going to be a simultaneous equation? Let's A represent apple, let's P represent pear. Now, if you multiply, since this is for each, 0.15 times A plus 0.20 times P will equal to 3.80 because it said a bag of apple and pear are purchased for this. So this is total price because the first equation is actually talking about price. Now, if the bag contains 21 apples, now we are not talking about the numbers of apples. Now we are not talking about the price. Now we now have A plus P must equal to 21 because that's the total number of apples, that's the total number of pear. So look at this equation. So that's what I said, 0.15 A, which is the price for one apple, for all the apples rather, plus 0.20 times P. P represents all the apples, all the pear, so equal to 3.08. That's the total cost. And what is the total number of fruits? A plus P equals 21. This is exactly what I explained initially. And I don't believe it's something is difficult for you to answer, to get. It's something you just need to read. Nobody can teach you beyond this in the real sense. Like, you just have to understand how to convert it. So from the second equation, now remember that I told you about simultaneous equation. This is a simultaneous equation. Now there are two ways of solving this thing. You can either make equation 2, this equation 2 look like equation 1 by multiplying either of the constant, either of the value is 0.15 A, can multiply this one all through by 0.15. And if you do that, that means A will have the same value, right? Then you subtract equation 1 from equation 2, you get your answer. But let's use the one they use here, which is substitution method, which is the second method, but it's longer. But I think it's better you learn elimination method. Yes, it's better. So, but yeah, let me just use what they use here. 21, when P goes to the other side, that will be A equals to 21 minus P. That's what they have here. From the second equation, A equals to 21 minus P. That's another equation. So that means you can substitute for the value of A in equation 1. So when you substitute the value of A in equation 1, that will be this equation 1, right? So if where you see A, just put 21 minus P. So you have 0.15 to 21 minus P plus 0.20 P equals to 3.80. But by the time you solve it, 0.15 to 21 and 0.15 times P plus 0.2 P equals to 3.08. So when you solve it through, your P should be 13. That's one way to do it, but you can also try the elimination method too. I don't know if I did something on that here. Okay, I don't know that, but you can use elimination method too. You just multiply through. So by the time you do that, 0.15, if you use the elimination method, this is the substitution method that we'll be using. That will be 0.15 and plus 0.15 P equals to, when you multiply this, it will give you a value 0.15 times 21. By the time you minus the two equations, you get 0.25 minus this. You shall solve it. I don't want to explain it in abstract, but I believe this formula is okay. Okay, so let me just use that second elimination method. Let me show you. This is substitution method. Let me show you. So here, so if this is the first equation that I showed you, and the second equation, this is it. But to use the elimination method, you have to make sure that the second equation look like the first equation. So that's what I did there. So I multiplied through the second. This is the second equation by 0.15. I multiply all this one by 0.15. So that gives me this. This is a question. So now I have to make sure that one of the variables is eliminated. So since I've done that, it's going to make sure that happens. So if you minus deduct equation 1 from equation 2 here, this will be 0.15a minus 0.15a will be 0. 0.20p minus 0.15p is going to give 0.05p equals to 3.80 minus 3.15 is going to give 0.65. You divide through by 0.05, get 13, which is the same answer as this. So the reason why I would recommend you using this is because this is faster than the other one, because that will save your time. That's why. Now, to produce a particular radio model, it costs a manufacturer $30 per radio, and it is assumed that if 500 radios are produced, all of them will be sold. What must be the selling price per radio to ensure that the profit is the revenue from the sale minus the total production scale and production cost on 500 radios is greater than 8,200. Now, look at this. What they are trying to say is that, okay, this guy produces at this particular rate. He produces $30. Okay, it costs him $30 per radio. Like, that's the money he uses to, produce a radio, right? Now, if he produces 500, so that will be 500, right? So produce 500. So all of them will be sold. Now, if you want to sell, selling price is equal to S minus. So if you want to know the profit, right? This is the formula revenue. Selling price minus cost price. Selling price minus cost price must be greater than 8,200. That's the logic here. You understand? So that's the explanation. So now, what's the selling price? The selling price will now be Y. 500 times Y, because we don't know the selling price. So, yeah, let's see the question. We don't know the selling price. So, but we know the selling price minus. So, the selling price for one, since they said this is the cost price, $30 per hour. So, we don't know the selling price. So, that would be selling price will be 500 times Y. For selling price for one is Y. You get, for 500 radios, that will be 500 times Y. Now, this other one too, the cost price, this one is $30. That will be 30 times 500. So that's why they square this, they put this in brackets. But let's keep this. Let's just look at this. I have 500Y minus 30 times 500. That will give 15,000. So this equation must be greater than 8,200. That's what they said here. Must be greater than. So the profit. So this is the profit. This is the profit. This is value of the profit. Selling price minus cost price. This is the cost price. $30 times 500. Selling price is 500 times Y. This is why we don't know it yet, and that's what they said we should calculate. So by the time you solve this like this, 500Y greater than 23,200. So Y is greater than 46.4. Now, if you are supposed to input this, we can't put 46.4. You put 46.5, or let's just write it up to 47. It's much greater than this. So Y is not equal to 46.4. That's the meaning of this. It is not equal to 46.4. It is greater than it. So there's a selling price must be greater than this to ensure that the profit is greater than this. That's the answer. So when you are inputting question on stuff like this, do not just enter. It must be greater. The meaning is that it must be greater than this. So in the option, they will put 46.4. They will put 40. They can put 47, and they can put. But you have to make sure the answer you are picking is greater than this. 46 point something. Greater than this. Can be 46.6. But you got 46.5. Anything from 46.5 upward is correct. Anything lesser than this is not right, or equal to this is not right. So that's the answer. So we'll talk about another different thing in the next video.